Based on this story, we will learn about DARVO, deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender, and the psychology of communal narcissism, where a person gets their supply not by being superior, but by being the most charitable sufferer in the room. You're going to see how a man can use his wife's silence as a canvas for his own lies. And yeah, you'll see exactly how to burn that canvas down. If you're watching this video, tell me where you're from or what time it is for you. The air in the HR office smelled of stale coffee and litigation. It was a specific scent, sharp and metallic, like pennies left in the sun. It's a restructuring, Vanessa, not a reflection of your performance. The woman across from me, a 20-something with manicured nails that clicked incessantly against the glass table, didn't meet my eyes. She pushed the envelope across the surface. Severance. NDA. The end of 7 years building the European Modernism Department from a chaotic mess into a revenue engine. I understand, I said. My voice was level, professional. I didn't tremble. I didn't beg. In my line of work, you learn that emotion devalues the asset. If you look desperate, the price drops. I signed the papers. The pen felt heavy, a lead weight. "We'll need your badge," she added, finally looking at my chin, not my eyes. I handed it over. The plastic rectangle that had defined my hierarchy, my access, my worth, for nearly a decade. This isn't just business, I thought, watching her drop it into a drawer. They waited until the merger was finalized. They waited until I cataloged the Rothko. They squeezed the expertise out of me and discarded the rind. I walked to the elevator, my heels clicking a rhythm on the marble floor. Click-clack, click-clack, the sound of a woman leaving. I held my head high, past the security desk, past the interns I'd trained. I wouldn't give them the satisfaction of a tear. Not here. But as the elevator doors slid shut, sealing me in the mirrored box, I caught my reflection. The composure was a veneer. Underneath, I was calculating. How long could we survive on savings? Greg's career was a drain, not a faucet. The doors opened to the parking garage, the humidity hitting me like a wet towel. I unlocked my sedan, the sanctuary of leather and silence. Why did I feel like I was walking into a trap, not driving home? I walked through the front door, the weight of the story in their front stateway. I got my parents, but once study of a house was dark save for the blinding halo of a ring light emanating from the living room. "Greg?" "Shh." A hiss. I froze. He was sitting on the beige sofa, the one I paid for, wearing a cashmere sweater that was definitely too warm for September. He was talking to his phone, propped up on a tripod. "It's about showing up," he said, his voice dropping an octave, that practiced husky timbre he used for his Mindset Monday clips. "Even when the people around you are struggling, you have to be the rock. You have to be the lighthouse." He held the pose for a second, then tapped the screen. The ring light died, plunging the room back into gray. "Hey, babe," he said, not looking up, thumbs swiping furiously. "You're early. Did you pick up the oat milk?" I set the box down on the dining table. It made a heavy thud. "I got fired, Greg." He stopped swiping. He looked at the box, then at me. For a second, I saw a flicker of something. Panic? No. Calculation. "Fired?" He stood up, walking over, but he didn't hug me. He leaned against the counter, crossing his arms. "Wow, that's heavy." "Restructuring," I said, leaning against the table, needing something solid. 7 years. Gone. "I'm so sorry, V," he said, but his eyes were drifting back to his phone screen. "You know, this might be the universe telling you something. You've been so rigid lately. Maybe this is an invitation to softness." Rigid? I paid the mortgage. I paid for his podcast hosting fees. I paid for the fiber optic internet he was currently using to ignore me. I don't need softness, Greg. I need a strategy. "See? That's the fear talking," he said, shaking his head with a pitying smile. "We'll figure it out. But hey, can you keep it down for like 20 minutes? I need to re-record that intro. The lighting was weird." He turned back to his tripod. I stood there, the smell of his expensive sandalwood cologne, bought with my bonus, filling the room. He wasn't worried about the money. Why wasn't he worried about the money? I woke up to the buzzing. Not the alarm, a relentless insect-like vibration against the nightstand. Sunlight streamed through the curtains, harsh and judgmental. I reached for my phone, squinting. 12 texts. 5 missed calls. Not from recruiters, from friends, from my mother. "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. He's so brave for sharing this." Mom. "Vanessa, are you safe? Do you need me to come over?" Chloe. My stomach turned over, a cold stone in my gut. I opened Instagram. There it was. Greg's face, black and white filter, looking somber, looking burdened. The caption was a novel. @Greg guided you. Transparency post. We curate our lives to look perfect, but real love is messy. Yesterday, my wife lost her high-powered job, but the truth is, we've been losing her for a while. The pressure, the instability, the mental toll, it's been a heavy cross to bear. Watching the woman you love crumble is a unique kind of pain. I'm stepping up. I'm being the rock. But I'm human too. Send prayers for her healing and for my strength. #mental health awareness. #partner burnout. #real talk. 3,400 likes. His average was 150. I read the comments. "You're a saint, Greg. She's lucky to have you. Stay strong, brother. Toxic partners are draining." He hadn't just announced my firing, he had branded me. Crumble, instability, toxic. I looked across the bed. The sheets were cold. He was already up. I could hear the coffee grinder whirring in the kitchen. The sound of normalcy. How could he grind beans when he had just ground my reputation into dust? I walked into the kitchen. He was pouring a latte art fern, focused, tongue slightly between his teeth. "Delete it," I said. My voice was raspy, sleep and rage mixing in my throat. He didn't flinch. He finished the pour, set the pitcher down, and turned. "Good morning to you, too. Want one?" "The post, Greg. Take it down. Now." He sighed, leaning back against the marble island, sipping his foam. "I knew you'd react like this. This is the defensive ego trying to protect the wound." "You told the internet I'm mentally unstable because I got laid off," I shouted. The volume surprised me. I never shouted. "I spoke my truth, Vanessa," he said, his voice calm, measured, the voice of a man speaking to a hysterical child. "It's valid for me to feel the weight of your stress. You have been difficult, a dark cloud. I'm just processing it. My community resonates with vulnerability." "Your community? These are strangers, and my colleagues follow you." "If your colleagues judge you for having a human moment, that's on them," he said, shrugging. "I'm creating a safe space for men to discuss the burden of emotional labor. You should be proud I'm breaking stigma." "You're monetizing my unemployment." He set the mug down hard. "See? This hostility? This is exactly what I was talking about in the post. You're spiraling, V. And honestly, it's abusive to try and censor my healing process." Abusive. He used the word like a shield. He was DARVOing me in real time. Deny the harm, attack my reaction, reverse the victim. "I'm not spiraling," I said, lowering my voice, forcing the tremble out of my hands. "I am protecting my career, which pays for this house." "Money again," he scoffed, rolling his eyes. "It's always transactional with you. Maybe that's why you lost the job. People feel that energy." He walked past me, brushing my shoulder. "I'm going to the studio. I need positive vibes today." I stood alone in the kitchen. The silence wasn't empty. It was heavy with the realization that he didn't just misunderstand me. He was using me. Was I actually the crazy one? I sat in my home office, the guest room we converted, though Greg kept storing his merch boxes in here. I had a Zoom interview in 10 minutes with Sotheby's rival, a director role. It was the lifeline I needed. I adjusted my blazer, checked the lighting, and forced a smile. The screen flickered. The face of Marcus, a headhunter I'd known for years, appeared. He looked uncomfortable. "Vanessa," he said, No pleasantries. Marcus, good to see you. I'm ready to discuss I'm going to be honest, he interrupted. He looked down at his desk. We're going to have to put a pin in this. My heart hammered against my ribs. I don't understand. Our call last week was the partners. They saw the social media circulation, he said, finally looking at me. The narrative about volatility. In this market, with the provenance issues we handle, we need stability, unquestionable stability. Marcus, I said, leaning in, desperation clawing at my throat. That is a personal blog. My husband he's a content creator. He dramatizes things for engagement. My performance record is flawless. Perception is reality, Vanessa. You know that better than anyone, he sighed. Take some time. Get well. We can reconnect in 6 months. The screen went black. Get well. I stared at my reflection in the dark monitor. I wasn't sick, but Greg had painted a picture so vivid, so public, that the truth didn't matter. The paint was wet, and it was sticking to everything. How do you prove you're sane when denying it makes you look defensive? Greg was out networking, which usually meant buying $18 cocktails for 22-year-olds who might repost him. I went into the living room. His iPad was on the coffee table. I knew the passcode, 1111. He wasn't a complex man. I opened Instagram. The notifications were a waterfall. 5,000 likes now. I went to his DMs. Bro, genius angle. The suffering husband bit is gold. Sent by Alpha Josh. Greg's reply? Yeah, engagement is up 400%. Gonna ride this wave. She's too out of it to notice anyway. My breath hitched. The suffering husband bit. I clicked on Ad Tools. He had put $500 behind the post. Target audience, Chicago, arts and culture, luxury retail, auction houses. He hadn't just shared his feelings. He had paid money to ensure my industry saw it. He targeted my boss, my colleagues, the competition. He spent $500 of our joint account to nuke my career, just to get a few thousand likes from strangers. I put the iPad down. My hands were shaking, not from fear, but from a cold, sharp clarity. This wasn't a mistake. It was a demolition. Why did he hate me this much? Or did he just love himself that much? The office of deeply polished mahogany and leather smelled of old money and ruthlessness. Defamation is hard, Vanessa, Simon said. He was 60, wore bow ties unironically, and had divorced 3 wives. He knew the game. He cost me a job, Simon. I have proof he targeted my industry. Simon tented his fingers. He expressed concern. He used vague terms. Instability, crumbling. It's opinion. It's his lived experience. If you sue him, you just give him a bigger platform. He'll play the martyr in court. Look at my wife, suing me for loving her too much. So I do nothing? I let him starve us out? No, Simon smiled, a shark baring teeth. You don't sue him for defamation. You starve him. You separate assets. You cut the supply. He has no assets. I own the house. I own the cars. Does he know that? He thinks what's mine is ours. Technically in Illinois, he's not wrong, Simon said, unless we can prove dissipation of marital assets, or unless you have leverage. Leverage? He's a narcissist, right? That's what you said? Textbook. Narcissists make mistakes when they think they're winning. He's high on supply right now. He's arrogant. He'll get sloppy. Simon leaned forward. Don't fight him. Feed him. Let him get so full of himself he chokes. I nodded slowly. Feed him. If I want to destroy him, I have to let him think he's already won, I whispered. Exactly, Simon said. So, how good of an actress are you? Meta. Sex, 1.5. I ordered Thai food. Pad See Ew, his favorite. His one of the Thai was I do in the U.S., which is an aid of benefit from yourself. We don't have to grab with it, and it's place from every day. I ordered Thai food pad see ew. I changed into sweatpants, stained ones. I didn't brush my hair. I rubbed my eyes until they were red. When he came home, I was sitting on the floor, surrounded by tissues. "Hey," he said breezy. He was buzzing, high on the algorithm. I saw the comments," I mumbled, voice thick. Maybe you're right, Greg. Maybe I am broken. I lost the Sotheby's interview." He stopped. A flash of delight? It was gone instantly, replaced by the mask of concern. He crouched down. "Oh, baby, I'm so sorry. But see? This is the cleansing. You had to lose that to find yourself." He pulled out his phone. He wasn't even hiding it. He hit record. "So you're admitting that the pressure was too much?" he asked, pointing the lens at my tear-stained face. "Yeah," I sniffled. "I'm just so weak right now. I don't know what I'd do without you guiding me." "Say that again," he urged. "For the tribe. They need to hear that humility." "I don't know what I'd do without you," I repeated, looking directly into the lens. "Boom," he whispered. He stood up. "This is going to be huge for the Patreon launch. The breakthrough moment." He walked to the kitchen to plate the food. "You're doing great, V. Really. I feel like we're finally connecting." I watched his back. He didn't see a wife in pain. He saw content. Good, I thought. Keep filming. Put it all on record. How much rope did a man need to hang himself? Apparently, just a ring light and an ego. Sex, 1.5. 2 days later, the house was quiet, but my phone is a little bit about summer. I woke up to breakthrough mode of money, a frame, and problems around. 2 days later, the feet of my dead of the meta and didn't. The moment had been put the videos of the last 35%. But money is making a general self-employed in foot, is released beloved that you can look for it. The house was keep foaming, and we didn't help aboutnen into the $2,000 to stretch away my dad. He didn't use the late away, and both came out. He had said permitta, and still make them from similar as he stared to do. They require moments to make fun, and fiver appeared. Sex. Greg had posted a graphic, a sleek Canva design. Live event, Friday, 8 p.m., Loving the Broken, a Q&A on resilience with Greg, special guest appearance by Vanessa, maybe? Link in bio to donate. He was throwing a party for my breakdown. I walked into his office, the studio. He had soundproofed it, poorly, with foam I bought from Amazon. "Friday?" I asked, leaning against the doorframe. "Yeah, it's trending. People want to know how I manage it all. The coaching inquiries are flying in, V. I might finally be able to contribute." "That's great, Greg." "I was thinking," he said, swiveling in his chair, "you should come on, just for the end. No talking, just sit there. Let me hold your hand. Visual proof of the support." He wanted a prop. "I don't know, Greg. I'm pretty fragile." "I'll protect you," he said, flashing that smile that used to make my knees weak and now just made my stomach churn. "Trust me." "Okay," I said softly. "I'll be there." He turned back to his screen, dismissing me. I walked out, my heart rate steady. Friday at 8 p.m. I had 3 days to prepare. What happens when the prop goes off script? Sex, 1.5. I sat at the kitchen table with a pile of documents. Property deeds, LLC filings, bank statements. The boring paperwork I handled because Greg wasn't a details guy. I was looking for the lease on the studio space. Wait, the studio wasn't in the house. The studio was the detached garage unit we converted. But the zoning... I pulled the file for Vanessa Holdings, LLC. I created it 3 years ago to manage some freelance consulting I did on the side. The garage unit wasn't legally part of the residential lease. It was a separate commercial add-on I had purchased under the LLC for tax purposes. Greg's name wasn't on the deed. It wasn't on the LLC. He didn't even have a rental agreement. Technically, he was squatting in a commercial property owned by a company he had no shares in. I stared at the paper. The ink looked like gold filigree. He thought he was the king of the castle, but he was just a guest in the carriage house. I picked up my phone and dialed Simon. I found something, I said. Good? Better than good, I replied, watching Greg through the window as he practiced his empathetic listener face in the glass reflection of the garage door. I found the eviction notice. When do you want to serve it? Simon asked. Friday, I said, 8:15 p.m. During the stream? Exactly. That's cold, Vanessa. No, I said, watching Greg preen. That's business. I sat on the floor of the hallway, laptop balanced on my knees, the blue light of the screen painting my face in spectral hues. The router hummed, a low electric vibration that felt like a countdown. I logged into the admin panel. Admin. Password 123. Greg never changed defaults. He thought technology, like people, should just serve him without maintenance. I found the device list. Greg's studio eviction. Greg's_studio PC. Greg's iPhone. I set up the stream part of them, have put in the moment, but it was playing like the important part of history released something. I set up the device list, Greg's studio PC. Greg's iPhone. A scheduled task. Parental control protocol. I blocked the studio's MAC address from the main network, effective Friday at 8:25 p.m. Just enough time for him to start the stream, build the audience, and get comfortable. Then I opened the app for the smart locks on the garage door. User, Greg. Access level, guest. I changed the permission settings. Revoke access, Friday, 8:30 p.m. It was petty. It was bureaucratic. It was perfect. I clicked save. The screen blinked, a digital eye winking back at me. Why did administrative violence feel so much cleaner than the physical kind? Sex. I walked into the studio Thursday night. The smell of stale energy drinks and ozone hung in the air. Greg was adjusting his lighting, squinting at a monitor. I got you something, I said, keeping my voice small, submissive. I held out the box. A Shure SM7B microphone, top of the line, $600. He turned, eyebrows raised. V, you bought this? I wanted to support your vision, I lied. I know the audio on the last stream was a little tinny. You deserve professional quality if you're going to help people. He took the box, his fingers brushing mine. His touch used to feel like electricity. Now it felt like a transaction. Wow, he breathed, unboxing it. This is the level I need to be at. Thanks, babe. I'm glad you're finally seeing the potential here. He plugged it in immediately. Testing, 1, 2. The resonance is deep. God voice, right? He grinned at his reflection in the monitor. It picks up everything, I said softly, backing out of the room. Every whisper. Perfect, he said, not looking at me. That's exactly what I want. Did he realize he was wiring himself for his own execution? Sex 1.5. Friday, 8 p.m. I was in the bedroom, in my vintage Chanel blazer, the one I wore to close the Mondrian deal. Hair sleek, lips painted a blood red that looked black on camera. I watched the stream on my phone. Greg sat in his chair, looking solemn. He wore a black t-shirt. Simple. Humble. Welcome, everyone, he said, leaning into the new mic. The sound was crisp, intimate. Tonight is going to be raw. We're talking about the shadow side of love, supporting a partner who refuses to be saved. The viewer count ticked up. 400, 600, 1,000. Vanessa is in the house, he said, glancing at the door. She's resting. It's been a hard week, but she might join us. I'm hoping she finds the courage. Comments rolled in. Take your time, Greg. She's lucky you're so patient. Don't force her, bro. I stood up, smoothing the lapels of my jacket. Patient. I walked to the back door. The night air was cool. I could see the light spilling from under the garage door. Courage, I whispered to the grass. You want courage? I'll bring you the whole damn armory. I opened the side door to the studio. Greg didn't hear me at first. He was mid-monologue, eyes closed, hand on his chest. And that's the hardest part, guys. When you offer them a hand and they slap it away. It's like drowning. They pull you down. I stepped into the frame. The click of my heels on the concrete floor was sharp, like a gavel strike. Greg's eyes snapped open. He spun around. His face went through a micro-journey: confusion, recognition, panic, and then a desperate attempt to remask. "V," he said, forcing a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Wow, you dressed up." I didn't look at him. I looked directly into the camera lens. The red tally light was glowing. "Hello, Greg's tribe," I said. My voice was calm, authoritative, the voice I used to sell million-dollar art. Greg stood up, nervous energy radiating off him. "Guys, she's masking. This is what I talked about, the manic defense mechanism. V, sit down. Let's talk about how you're feeling." "I'm feeling efficient, Greg," I said. I didn't sit. I stood taller than him. The chat on his monitor was freezing. People were confused. I wasn't the broken bird he promised. I was a hawk. "What are you doing?" he hissed, off mic, trying to angle his body between me and the camera. "I'm giving you the content you wanted," I said, stepping around him. I placed a manila envelope on his desk, right next to the new microphone. "What is this?" he asked, laughing nervously. "A love letter?" "It's an eviction notice," I said. The silence in the room was absolute. The only sound was the whir of the computer fan. "What?" "This studio," I gestured to the walls, the foam, the lights. "It sits on a parcel of land owned by Vanessa Holdings, LLC. You have no lease, you pay no rent, and as of this moment, your tenancy is terminated." "You're joking," he said, his face flushing. This is my home too. Guys, she's having an episode." "I'm not done," I said. I pulled a second document from the envelope. Divorce petition, citing irreconcilable differences and financial abuse. "Abuse?" he laughed, a high, jagged sound. "I bought you groceries yesterday." "You bought them with my credit card, Greg, the one I canceled this morning." I looked at the camera again. "He told you I was unstable. He told you I was a burden. The truth is, I'm the landlord, and the rent is past due." I turned to him. He looked small, deflated. "You have 5 minutes to vacate the premises before the locks engage," I said. "You can't do that," he sputtered. "Read the lease," I said. "Oh, wait, you never asked for one." I turned and walked out. "Vanessa, get back here," he yelled. I closed the door behind me, leaning against the cold siding of the garage. I pulled up the stream on my phone. He hadn't ended it. He was too panicked. He thought if he stopped talking, the reality would set in. He grabbed his phone, dialing furiously. Josh, answer me," he screamed. He forgot the new mic, the sensitive studio-grade mic I gave him, was still hot. "She's locked me out." "No, dude, the bitch actually served me on stream." "No, I don't care about the divorce. I care about the brand. If I lose the studio, where do I film?" "Yeah, I know the mental health angle is blown if she looks like a CEO. I need a new angle. Think, Josh. Can we say she's off her meds?" The chat was moving so fast it was a blur. Did he just say that? Off her meds? Wow, mask off. Unsubscribing. He was frantically pacing, unaware that 1,200 people were watching him outline his PR strategy to destroy his wife. "I'll just say she hit me," he muttered to the phone. "I'll say she got violent off camera." I screenshotted the chat. "I'll just say she hit me. Gotcha. Fuck Meta." The door handle rattled violently. "Vanessa, open this door." I stood in the driveway, the cool wind brushing my face. I watched him try the keypad. He punched in 1111. Red light. Access denied. He punched it again. Harder. Red light. He kicked the door. "It's a smart lock, Greg," I called out, my voice carrying over the wind. "It doesn't respond to tantrums, only admin privileges." He ran to the window, pressing his face against the glass. He looked distorted, a gargoyle of rage. "My keys are in the house. My wallet." "I put a bag on the porch," I said. "Motel 6 has vacancies. I checked." "You're a monster," he screamed. No, I said, turning toward the main house. I'm a distinct legal entity. Sat in the living room with a glass of Pinot Noir. The house was quiet. I opened his laptop. The stream had finally cut off, probably because the Wi-Fi timed out. I went to Twitter. Hashtag Greg Guided You was trending, but not the way he wanted. Watching a narcissist collapse in real time is my new favorite genre. His wife walked in like a boss fight, 10 out of 10. He admitted he made up the mental health stuff. Why are men? I scrolled and scrolled. The shame I had felt for a week, the heavy, sticky shame of being discarded, evaporated. It wasn't my shame anymore. I had returned it to its owner. I saw a DM from Marcus, the headhunter. Just saw the clip circulating. Effective crisis management. Call me Monday. I took a sip of wine. It tasted like oak and victory. Why did I ever think I needed him to interpret my reality? Sex 1.5. Greg tried to spin it. Of course he did. On Saturday, he posted a video from his car. The lighting was bad. He looked unshaven. I was under extreme stress, he said, eyes wet. My wife, she triggered a reactive abuse episode. I said things I didn't mean. I'm the victim here. It got 200 likes and 500 comments telling him to get a job. The industry is small. The art world loves a shark, but it hates a messy shark. Greg was messy. I was surgical. Monday morning, I walked into Marcus's office. I didn't wear the suit from the stream. I wore white, clean, new. The Sotheby's roll is gone, Marcus said, leaning back. My stomach dipped. But, he continued, Christie's is looking for a VP of operations, someone who can handle hostile takeovers. He smiled. They liked your performance art piece. It wasn't art, I said, taking the contract he offered. It was corrections. The settlement meeting was brief. Greg sat across the table, looking smaller than I remembered. He wore a suit that fit poorly. He'd lost weight. Or maybe he just lost the inflation of his ego. He wouldn't look at me. He looked at the papers. You get the house, he muttered. You get the car. You're leaving me with nothing. I'm leaving you with your platform, Greg, I said, signing my name with a flourish. Vanessa Holt, no hyphen. That's what you wanted, isn't it? To be seen? He looked up then. His eyes were cold, dead things. You think you won, but you're alone, Vanessa. You're cold. No one will ever love you like I did. I know, I said. I capped my pen. The click was final. That's the best news I've heard all year. I stood up. I didn't shake his hand. I didn't look back. I walked out into the Chicago wind, and for the first time in 7 years, the air didn't smell like his cologne. It smelled like rain. It smelled like concrete. It smelled like mine. Lesson learned. The story of Vanessa and Greg illustrates the concept of reactive abuse and the DARVO trap. The trap. Greg, the narcissist, poked Vanessa until she reacted, then pointed at her reaction as proof of her instability. This is the core of reactive abuse. The victim's survival instinct is weaponized against them. The countermove. Vanessa didn't try to explain herself to Greg. You cannot explain empathy to someone who uses it as a costume. Instead, she used strategic exposure. She stopped being the gray rock, boring, unreactive in private, and became the neon rock in public. The takeaway. When someone tries to write your narrative for you, do not edit their draft. Burn the printing press. Documentation beats gaslighting every time. If they want an audience, give them one, but make sure you control the lighting. Sex 1.5. If this story resonated with you, leave a like and consider subscribing. You can also drop any comment below, even just one word. Maybe tell me where you're watching from, or what time it is right now. Sometimes one word is enough to say you were here.